So today I wanted to show you how you can take a melody and really learn from it and break it down and understand what's happening there. And you can absorb it to your own playing and steal phrases without actually stealing them. So I'm going to keep this simple today, but we're going to learn a melody that I came up with. It's very simple and goes a little something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. I love to use that one, beginning of rhythm changes. You can also make it work for a blues and a bunch of other things, but it's like playing a 1 chord. Maybe it's like a 1 to 5 or a 1 6 2 5, but it's very simple. So what you're going to need to know for this is 3 things. You're going to need to know your B flat scale up, alright, right up to the 7th, and you're going to want to know this on every degree of the scale. You want to know your B flat scale inside and out, upside down and right side up. So then you do it from the 2nd. And on the B flat. Do it from the 3, do it from the 4, from the 5th, and you get the point. You want to do it from every degree of the scale to really know it. The second thing you want to know is your half step rules. Now, I have another video on this that goes more in depth, specifically on the half step rules for a dominant chord. But to keep it simple for today, the half step rules are adding a chromatic passing tone when certain notes are on the beat. And it keeps you landing right so that when you're descending, that's when you use them. You can land right and sound all right. So from the root, I'm going to start up here. If we're descending from the root, it's 1 half step between the 6th and the 5th on a major chord. Like that. And now you have the 1, the 6th, 5, 3, and the 1 on the beat. When you're starting on the 2nd, however, there's no half steps. That goes like this. And then you have 2, 7, 5, 3, and 1 on the beat. I'm going to move down here for the 3. Starting on the 3, again, it's 1 half step between the 6th and the 5th. And then you keep going. And it's pretty much every other note you add the half step in. So then the 4, no half step. From the 5, 1 half step. From the 6, no half steps. From the 7th, 1 half step. But you're still adding the half step down here. You're not adding it up where you play the 7th. Like that. And to make it simpler, remember, on the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7, you add 1 half step between the 6th and the 5th. On the 2, the 4, and the 6, you add no half steps. So the third thing you're going to need to know is a pivot. Now, this is one of my favorite things to play. It sounds beautiful, and it's a great way to voice lead. So what a pivot is you want to take a chord, also known as an arpeggio, but it's play a note, skip a note, play a note, skip a note, play a note, skip a note, play a note. But instead of playing it like that, you're going to keep the first note where it is and play the next 3 notes down the octave. So it sounds like this. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, so then you want to know that from every degree of the scale, just like everything else. So from the 2, your chord is, but then your pivot is like that. From the 3, it's your chord, and your pivot is like that. And you keep going every degree of the scale, all the way up to the 7th. And that's what you need to know for this lick, just those 3 things. And what this lick is, or rather a melody, as we should call it, it's a scale up consisting of 2 beats. So we're going to run the root up to the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 2 beats. We're going to do a pivot from the fifth. That. And then you're going to land on the next scale tone down. So in this case, it's the D. Then you're going to do a pivot from the D. Like that. And then you land on the next scale tone down. And then you run down with your half step rules. Run down the scale for 2 beats again. Like that. 3 things that make up that entire melody. Run the scale up, pivot, next scale tone, pivot, next scale tone, run down the scale with the half step. Like that. And now, not only can we play that, we understand what consists, or what makes up that melody. It's 3 things. Now, you don't just want to play it there, right? You want to play it again on every degree of the scale. Because we're not trying to just play chord tones. We're trying to play a melody within the scale and play a movement like that. So what if we play it from the second? We just have to follow the same things that we did from the root, but instead start on the second. So we want to run up the scale for 2 beats. And now you're on G. C goes to G. And then on G, you do a pivot, land on the next scale tone, do a pivot from there, land on the next scale tone, and you want to run down your half step rules. Now in B flat, the half step rule for the second is no half steps. So you go C to F. And altogether that sounds like this. You run up, pivot, pivot, run down. And that's something you might not think to play on a B flat, because you're starting on the second, you're going up to the sixth, and then you're running second down to the fifth. But it's beautiful, you see? Because you don't have to think chord tones of B flat, you're just thinking the scale. And it does take some discrimination on what you like to play and what you don't like to play. For example, like, you might say, like, you think that sounds a little weird for you. That's okay, you don't have to play that. I'm just encouraging you to play it on every degree of the scale and find out what you like. But me, I really like that sound. To me, the best way to describe it is it's like we're playing a 2-5 at the start of it and then resolving it to B flat. Like this is our 2. And then we resolve to B flat right there. But the beauty of the system of thinking in scales and not chords is that you don't have to think of superimposing these different chords over the key. It all works, and it's all just a beautiful sound that can resolve. So then we go to the 3, because we want to do it on every degree of the scale and see what happens. So from the 3, you run up the scale for 2 beats. You land on the 7th. Then we do a pivot from the 7th. Land on the next scale tone. Do a pivot from there. That's the 5th. Land on the next scale tone and run down your half step rules. And for the 3, you do have 1 half step, but when you're only running at 2 beats, you don't get to the place where you would use that half step, because it's after that G, right? But you're still thinking, I have the half step. If I were to keep going, I would go there. And altogether, that one sounds like this. And that's beautiful to me. And landing on the 6th is something that I personally like. It has this really mellow sound. It reminds me a lot of like Mac the Knife, or how Sonny Rollins played Moritz-at, the contrafact of that. It's a really beautiful sound. So I'm going to keep this video shorter. I'm not going to go through every single one. I'm going to leave that for you to do. See what it would sound like if you started on the 4th or on the 5th, maybe even the 6th or the 7th. Definitely the 6th and 7th. You want to practice all of those and figure out what you like. And the last thing I want to talk about is maybe making this a little less basic, a little less on the nose. And I got a simple trick for that really doesn't take much brain power. And the first thing I like to do is just take off a note at a time. So our first lick, or first melody rather, starting on the 1, it's very on the beat. And I purposely did that to keep this simple. But sometimes you want to make that less predictable and a little more angular, like a bebop melody. So let's take off the first note, start on the end of the 1 with the C. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, And again, that last note right there, I just added that bebop, right? That's so popular, and I bet a lot of you already do that. And that's just adding another note after the scale. For me, it's not any particular note, although usually it's something that I think sounds good at the end of a phrase. Like from the 5th, I go down to the 3rd. If I'm landing on the 6th, I like to go down to the 5th. It's really any note you want. But that one really sounds cool. You got 1. And all of a sudden you got bebop. It's that simple. So let's take off 2 notes of the scale, right? We're gonna start on beat 1 on the D. 1, 2, 3, 4, And there I did something again. Right away, that's just a cool way to start on beat 2. That's something that I love to do. It's really cool. And it's especially good when the drummer is only ever crashing on beat 1. That's a great way to start it. But then at the end there, instead of doing the bebop again, I went down a chord. I went down a chord down from the 5th. Now you could say this is a G minor chord, G minor 7 chord hour. You don't have to think that. It's just a chord down from the 5th. Shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, Like that. And now let's take off another note. We're gonna start on the and of 2. So you got starting on the E flat, on the and of 2. Still thinking, running up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And I added something there again, but you know what? I'm not gonna talk about that one right now. Just gonna focus on what I'm playing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Like that. And it's simple things like that that can take these different fragments you have, connect them, and then you can mess with them, take notes off, add notes on, mix and match all your melodies and stuff, and you can create beautiful things with that. Now, again, you want to try this on every degree of the scale. So what would it sound like if we did the same thing, take notes off, but starting on the 2nd, right? We had this. But let's take off the first note, start on the and of 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I love that one. That one is beautiful. And I'm not even thinking of outlining a B flat chord. I'm thinking, I have this melody, I'm using this scale, and I'm gonna play this melody within the scale and let whatever happens happen. And that's how I create beautiful music. And that's what I want to encourage everybody who's watching this to do. Open your mind, see what else you can do, and don't limit yourself with just playing chord tones. And I'll see you guys next time.